Thank you all for being here. My name is Kim Prado, and I run client banking and digital technology across capital markets at RBC. What does this mean? I manage all technology that pertains to client, all the touch points, all the trades, all the data, as well as our external properties, websites, etc. My main focus is to enhance the customer experience for our users through our tools and applications, as well as to assist them at deepening of their relationships with external clients. As you can imagine, this is very challenging and can take many avenues to achieve this goal. We have built applications from the ground up. We have purchased new software that we've integrated into our ecosystem. We have hired experts in the field of big data and analytics. We have hired data scientists. We have partnered with universities and our own internal innovation labs. But perhaps the one thing that has stood out over the last few years has been our partnership with the FINOS and Linux Foundation and the success we have had in the open source community. So I am here today to talk to you about our journey, the challenges we faced, how we overcame those challenges, our focus on the customer experience, and how we have benefited from our partnership with the open source community. So I always like to start with our strategy, which is 1, 2, 3. First, we go and we collect all the data. We bring it all together. The trades, the mistrades, the CRM information, the structured information, the unstructured data. You name the data set. The first thing we do is bring that data together. Then we layer intelligence on top. What does that mean? Well, Alexa, who covers PIMCO? That's what I mean. We want to take the data and make it smart, right? Serve up those customized experiences, but in a way that is so seamless to our user, hence number 3, the client experience. Serving our data up in a way that is proactive, actionable, and leads to true revenue lifts is our main goal. So how do we do this? Well, let me take you back in time. As you can see, we're having a vintage user experience right now. So this is our application called Salesbook that we started years ago and built it out in WPF. But what this did was lay the foundation for us to collect the data, the e-commerce, all the electronic trades, all the inquiries, all the executed trades, the missed trades, all the holdings, all the market data, all the pricing, you name the data set. We laid the pipes from 2014 till now to collect this information, right? But this is where we were in 2014 through 2018. Fast forward to 2018, 2017, 2018, our journey is still vintage. However, we tried. We made an attempt at using HTML5 ourselves. So the evolution was .NET, WPF, HTML5, but we learned very quickly that in the HTML5 space, we needed help. So that brought us to here. And at this point, we integrated with OpenFin, and they helped us really take our HTML5 strategy to the next level. But this is where we got to by creating the RBC ecosystem. So using workflow, interop, all those good things, we've been able to bring together all our different analytics and data sets. So from this screen, you can see our client analytics, our client flow, our client 360, and our notifications on the bottom. And then leveraging all of that and all the additional data sets in the ecosystem, we've been able to continue to integrate the community. And as you can see from our client flow blotter, you'll see all of the third-party IDBs, trading systems integrated, right? We'll move on. That set us up for our partnership with Bloomberg, which enabled us to integrate our own bulletin platform in with the Bloomberg windows, and then our Flow Aura blotter with the Bloomberg windows, and our Bloomberg chat integration with our system through interop, and then our bulletin. But you can see these are the old windows, right? Well, these are the old windows that were slowly migrated to the new windows, but we were able to do this in a phased approach that enabled us to buy time and train our users and get exactly what they needed. But that wasn't enough. So that led us to open source. So if you can't build it and you can't buy it, then you want to open source it, right? So this is the evolution of how we were able to sell the idea of open source within RBC. So in the 1880s, 1890s, everybody was building, build, build, build. Then we had the rise of the vendors, and it was build and buy. And now open source. So the FINOS organization has led us to the point where we've been able to integrate with many of the projects that are going on. Specifically, I'm going to speak to Perspective, which was originally contributed by JP Morgan. And if you go to finos.org, GitHub/finos/ you can see the Perspective libraries are there. They're easy to download and they're easy to use. But why am I such a Perspective fan? Well, let me show you why. So here's an example of one of the screens that we were able to integrate using Perspective. So this data that you're looking at here has millions of rows associated with it. It's slow. It was hard to bring into a screen. It took forever for me to get our developers to make one simple little pie chart. Well, what Perspective has given us is the ability to actually provide visualization on top of our data sets in a configurable way. So underneath here, you'll see, okay, this is a neat heat map and a chart. But within the Perspective ecosystem, there's probably another 30 plus visualizations that are available. So once you plumb your data set into the Perspective libraries, you very quickly are able to deliver really interesting information about your data. So for example, here in our hire spend, again, this is all dummy data, you can quickly see how much we're spending with that company, right? And across what lines of business and what sectors, et cetera. But the key here is nobody had to code. So it's configuration. Through the Perspective libraries, anyone, and I mean anyone in the organization, can set it up themselves. So what we've had to do is put governance around who's allowed to do this and entitlements and so on. But through that, we've been able to deliver faster, cheaper, and so much more advanced features in such a short period of time that it's enabled our business to just be able to make decisions so much easier. It's also enabled our quant teams to be able to see visualizations of data quickly. So as they're working through new models, they can very easily see, how is this working, right? What if analysis and so on. So that leads me here. So the pandemic strikes, right? Everybody's shifting so this leads us to this, which is one of my favorite ways of looking at open source versus build versus buy. So if you think about an asset-light economy, what does that mean? Well, Uber, let's look at Uber for a second. Uber doesn't have cars, right? They don't have a lot of people, right? They don't pay for that. It's asset-light. They have third-party people who drive their own car to deliver people where they want to go. Same with DoorDash, Uber Eats, etc. It's an asset-light economy. And I like to think of open source in the same way. It's asset-light. I don't have to go hire developers to build visualizations. I can leverage the open source community for that feature. I don't have to go buy hire developers to build interop. I can leverage the open source community for that. So by thinking asset light, you're able to think, what can I do without adding more cost and overhead to the overall program. So if you look here, this article is saying the emergence and growth of virtual businesses provide, right? I can't stress this enough. Like, the amount of times I have sat in meeting rooms and the business needs something, and my IT department, my IT team says, well, I'm going to need to add 3 bodies to deliver that. If I had $1 for every time that ask came up, I wouldn't need to be working anymore, right? So the more we can look to the open source community for things or software or solutions that are part of the way there, we are then in turn saving our business money. We're buying time, where our time to market goes up, and we're not spending as much money. So let me walk you through why I'm such a believer of this and the asset light model. Again, just focusing on perspective, which again, I just want to repeat, was originally contributed by JP Morgan. So thank you, JP Morgan, for doing this. So Perspective's code base currently sits at approximately 170,000 lines of code today in the open source iteration, right? Divided up, 40% JavaScript, 30% C++, and 20% Python. 30,000 lines of this was developed internally as proprietary software before open sourcing. So over its lifetime as open source, the code base has seen well over 1 million lines of code committed or altered. That is the poster child for open source, right? That is why I am such a fan. That's just one example. 4,191 commits to the open source repo, with 500 coming in outside of JP Morgan Chase. Come on, that in itself is just mind-blowing, right? So with this, Perspective has over 6,000 test scenarios, which we run on 15 separate OS hardware configurations. So, I mean, why not try it, right? What's your downside? And so what we've been able to see at RBC is time savings, headcount savings, cost savings, but really, really the biggest one is the reputational savings. We are using software that right out of the gate is adopted and really, really appreciated and has taken our business to another level, right? Because they're not the first ones to use it. They don't have to live through the fact that we delivered something, and the QA, we missed that, we'll come back, right? The quality factor is way higher. In fact, by doing this, it has raised the bar on my development team so high that they're looking to use as much open source as possible across now. So where are we heading with all of this, right? So we are building out our next generation of tooling, again, using Perspective, using open source, and using, the concept of searching across the data set called the Cortex. So right here, you're looking at a filtered view of one of our accounts. Granted, this is all development data, so nobody worry. It's all QA data. But what we're showing here is being able to filter down and then quickly visualize the information, right? So if you filter on one client, you get their live stream, but you also get neat visualizations that tell you what your next step is or what your next action is. That tied in with our concept of a smart chat window. It's not really a chat window. It's a smart just question window, right? So what is the month to date, revenue for Rock Inc., right? And that gives you a search window of all the data sets. So if you think about it, we're enabling searching, but we're also enabling a smart question window. So really, I don't want to call it a chatbot, but I want to call it a smart answer window. So For example, right now you have to go to multiple places. You'd have to go to multiple places to ask multiple questions. What the Cortex does is it ties it all together, right? It's one window where you can ask it any question you want and it will bring you back an answer. But more important than that, what this does is it ties together the whole strategy. It's showing, it exposes all the data we collected in one, it exposes all the analytics we're putting in two, and then it's serving it up in a customized client experience for our end users. Thank you all for taking the time to attend my presentation, and I hope you have a great day.